Well, my biggest question is, because you guys did so good with the sword play dance, what was the difference here from this bowl dance in this
Oh
leg?
my goodness, the balancing was so tough, and like what you didn't see or what wasn't quite clear in the episode, it was also very windy. We were on top of like a mountain, right? So like the wind was significant. The dancers make it look easy. They have double the amount of pots on their head and they're doing it with ease. But I have such a big brain too, Sarah, that it like was hard to balance them.
Some would say odd-shaped head, actually, though I think is the more. No, what's interesting though is there's both challenges that were kind of similar in format, where there were practice stations, right, before entering into the actual challenge, right? And so on the sword challenge, we were practicing with a stick. We quickly realized, though, that we weren't really getting anywhere. So we just said, let's go for it. And the real sword was really heavy, and it had the blade side and the not blade side. So there were intricacies with the sword that we like really kind of did better with actually trying it. So that's what I was hoping for Ian to do with the pot balancing, but he practiced for a long time.
Listen to him, shady. I practiced for a long time, Sarah, because there were like 7 people doing the pot dance, whereas the sword there was only one other team, so we could like do it over and over and over and over again. Whereas the pot, I'd have to wait like for my turn.
Yeah, you got stuck in a line, right?
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't believe it told us how many attempts you did. Do you know?
It wasn't that many, actually, because to Joe's point, I did practice. So when I got up there, Sarah, I knew the dance, right? Like I didn't need help like memorizing the dance.
I'm gonna say like 6.
Oh, really? I thought it was like 4.
Maybe it was 5. We'll go with 5.
Not a ton like other people.
Right. You just got caught up in the line and the wind a little bit.
The wind was
it did look like the wind knocked it down a couple times.
For sure.
Yeah, the wind was challenging.
Ian, amazing at Lotus Bundles.
Thank you.
Nice, babe.
How was that task for you?
That was, I think most of the cast agrees, because obviously we have all discussed at length at this point. That was probably one of the hardest roadblocks of the season.
Was it?
It was really, really challenging. What you didn't see is all those lotus flowers, they're like roses, right? So they're all thorny, like the whole lotus flower is thorny. So it was a really challenging, and I lost my shoe literally the second I got into that mud. So like my feet were completely bleeding and torn up because it was just like so crazy in there.
One by one, they were coming back tattered from that challenge.
Yeah, it was a tough challenge. But yeah, I think that was probably a really tough roadblock.
You survived it, but you also beasted it. You did really well.
Yeah,
Am I a florist? No.
Yeah. I try to keep a really positive attitude. I knew that was one of those challenges, Sarah, where like the second you get in your own head, and I could see other team, like Ashley was getting in her own head, Lena was getting in her own head, they start crying, and I was like, okay, I can't get in my own head. Let me focus on me. Let me make sure that like I stay focused and make sure that like I'm paying attention to detail and things like that. And like once I decided that was my mindset, I knew that I could get it done.
This like double leg, I don't know, is that what we're calling it? The continue racing seemed absolutely exhausting. But you guys were able to move up, get your top 5 finish there. This miraculous flight that opens up for you. Talk me through this. This was amazing. You're all of a sudden in first place.
Yeah, I mean, when we found out that before the race started that it was going back to the traditional Amazing Race ways of kind of booking your own travel, no more charter flights for COVID and anything like that, we were really, really excited and juiced up about that, because that's how we travel. We go to these obscure, remote places that are logistically complicated to get to. So we're good at navigating flights and connections and figuring out like how are we going to make this work with all these other pieces. And so when we finally got to that travel agency, which was not easy to find,
we got lost a couple times,
and then we managed to manipulate our way onto that flight somehow. We were like, yeah, this feels right that Joe and Ian are going to get this, this advantage here because this is us.
Also, what you didn't see is like he had given us an initial 7:25 flight, the same flight most of the other teams were on. And we were like, can you check again? Can you call again? Can you just make sure that like there are no other flight options available? Like we will connect, we will do whatever we have to do, because at that time, Sarah, it was like 10 in the morning. So like, even if we had to connect, we knew that we would still get there even prior to that 7:25 flight even taking off. So it wasn't until that time that he like called and like found this other flight. So if we would have just taken that 7:25 and accepted that, that's the flight we would have been on. But
yeah, it's also, it's about how you word it too. You got to be careful. It's not get me on the next flight to so-and-so. It's how can you get me to my destination the earliest.
Right.
So your wording it comes into play for sure.
So you guys were super persistent, but also I have to imagine like standby seats or something like this flight just all of a sudden appeared. So it was also a little timing for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some luck involved. Definitely some persistence. Definitely timing.
We hit him with some charm.
Oh, he did. I was too stressed out. I was too stressed, which is evident in the
So then you take this long nighttime bus ride and you pull the 5:45 time slot. I was wondering was that helpful that you got to then rest through the night instead of travel? The other teams who arrived and then just had to go right into the task. Do you think that was a benefit?
Definitely beneficial. Yeah, we got like 4-ish hours of sleep, which was really nice. Would we have rather just started racing the second we got there? And like, because Sarah, we probably had like a Joel and Garrett were right behind us, like 30 or 40 minutes behind us. Yeah. But the other teams were like 6 hours ahead of. So like, I wish we could have capitalized on that gap a little bit more, because then our lead turned into, we had 4 teams with us at 5:45, right? So now we're not in first, we're in, a group of 4. And then the rest of the teams start, 15-minute increments after that. So the lead turned into literally nothing.
It's not just about advancing your placement in the pack. It's about when you're doing it, because the race has so many intricacies and you could be equalized at any point in time. And so our timing on when we were really advancing, it just was unfortunate.
Yeah, because we were in first place getting to the fruit market challenge, right? And then that completely dwindled till now. Really, it's every team is within 30 minutes of each other. So like there's really no huge advantage. And then finishing 4th place on the end of that leg, right? And then getting equalized on the flight to India. So I think just like worked our way up in a pretty significant way. Because as you remember, like leaving LA, we were in last place, right? We were the last team to get to LAX. So we worked our way all the way up to 1st and 4th place, only to be equalized again. And like, we're not bitter. That is the amazing race. That is the journey.
For sure.
If we were last place getting to the fruit market and then got equalized, we would be elated. Right. So like it's a give and take. We're certainly not like blaming the edit or blaming the show. It was just unfortunate timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, I live in Los Angeles. Getting to LAX, nobody likes that. That in of itself is a race.
Oh, we're back to talking about LAX.
I just want you to feel okay with that, because it's awful.
I'm terms with it.
Back here, you're on a boat with a little bit of the first groups, that first 15 minutes does save you from getting stuck in these lines, but we're going to miss our clue. So now you have to circle around to get your clue. Talk me through that, because do you really have a thought that someone's going to let you sneak in and grab your clue?
We tried it. We didn't know. The market itself was one of the most chaotic places I've ever been to in my life.
And to their credit, Corey and Rob did let us kind of jump on their boat, but we weren't able to do that per the rules. So
so we thought we would be able to kind of sneak through the chaos and get our clue somehow. If you're not trying, you're not trying, right? So we had to do everything we could. But naturally, of course, we had to sort of circle around and then wait for the other boats to go, and finally finally correcting someone's mistake of not getting the clip.
Me. Whoops.
Oops. Well, let's talk about a highlight. I mean, the deliver and tile portion of this double leg was, I mean, you guys were just beasting and powering through. How was your spirit for that part?
I think spirits were still high. We knew we were like still middle of the pack, leaving the fruit market. And look, like anytime you get in a taxi or anytime you like remove yourself from the control of that particular environment is a risk. Sometimes we got the fastest taxi driver on the planet. Sometimes we were in a boat driver that maybe wasn't the fastest, which was the case for the fruit market. And so at that point, you just kind of have to say, you know, this is the race. It is what it is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And so just accepting that. And so I think like leaving the fruit market challenge, we knew we were in a speed challenged boat.
Yeah.
At one point he like took a phone call and turned the engine off, but like, you know, that's the race.
That's Vietnam.
Yeah. So we knew when we got to the vinyl challenge that like we needed to, this is a very delicate process, and as high stress as it was, we needed to like take our time and really methodically think about how we were going to do this. And I think we did a really, really nice job at the vinyl. And then thanks to this guy, we get to the tile challenge and like he absolutely kills the game. Like he crushes it. He was by far the fastest person to find the tile. I think he found it in like literally like 5 or 7 minutes, which was like some people it took over an hour. Yes. So his way through there, we finished 4th place and we're just like living on top of the world at that point.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go to big picture. You guys end up racing to get the station.
Yes. One more station remained. We knew that.
Yeah, because we counted in our head. We knew how many Clue told us how many stations there were, and we knew how many teams were ahead of us. So we knew it was the last station, which is why we were sprinting, all 4 of us. We all knew that it was the last station.
Yep. And we won that foot race, unfortunately.
So at that time, you're excited. You got the station you wanted.
Yep.
Yeah, in retrospect, I wish we had lost that foot race, but no, we got the last mural spot, and so Todd and Ashley went over to the dolls. They crushed that, got to the mat. Yeah.
And what was the key to this big picture?
Oh, attention to detail, but to a level that nobody was prepared for. I mean, we knew going into the race that attention to detail was going to come into play numerous times, and this was just a whole different level of that. And there were so many things going on. There was the intricacies of the mural itself. There was the whole garb and outfit that we had to wear with the jewelry and the nose rings.
There were monkeys fighting.
All of the monkeys that fell and fought in front of us. There were wasps everywhere too. And then there was the way that we were posing. So, you know, and then the Indian gentleman always coming up. No, right. No, not telling us at all or giving us any sort of inkling of what could possibly be wrong. So for the longest time, we thought it was our clothes. We thought we were wearing all of the garb incorrectly. And it was a crazy challenge.
Well, it was an incredible finish to watch. I'm sure heartbreaking to go through. But I have to ask, how was this experience for you guys racing together? What did this do for your relationship?
It was great, honestly. Like, I think watching it back last night and like looking at our testimonial after and thinking about like seeing what we said on the mat, and like that's truly how we felt about this whole experience. This is a once in a lifetime thing. This is the Amazing Race. Like, it's something that we've always dreamed about doing on our own. And then when we got a chance to do it together, like I got a chance to do it. And I said in the interview, like with my person, like, this is just like so out of this world to me. And I still have to pinch myself thinking about like, we got the opportunity to do this. Doesn't matter if we were first out in the final 3, 5th leg out, like it's still like such an incredible experience to get to do this with my guy. And we'll take it with us forever. Like, such a cool experience.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm not one to really say over the top cheesy things, but no, I mean, not. If this taught us anything, it's just, there's nothing that we can't do together. So it was absolutely incredible.
Oh, that's great to hear. It was lovely watching you guys on the race, and I appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Sarah. It's nice to meet you.